Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So I told y'all yesterday, yo, it's brick as fuck out here, just so y'all know. You know what I mean? But I'm really giving it to y'all. Y'all really need to salute me as the Streets Reporter of the New World Order out in this motherfucker, because I'm out here freezing my ass off just to give y'all this shit. So I told y'all yesterday about how in Bolivia there was basically Evo Morales, the long-time running president, was going for his fourth term and actually had technically won the election, but it was considered to be like fraudulent. Like, it was a lot of uproar about how the election system went down. It felt like they faked the votes and all of that or whatever just for him to win. And win by enough of a margin to where there wouldn't be a runoff this winter. Then I told y'all about how the military actually called for him to step down over the airwaves, and then he formally announced that he was stepping down. Him, vice president, head of the Senate or whatever in the lower house. So he actually left the country on a Mexican plane from La Paz, Bolivia, and last night, where he's basically been granted asylum in Mexico. So people all across Latin America are actually like enraged by this, because keep in mind that Morales is actually the first indigenous president there, and opponents of Morales were actually yesterday burning Whistler indigenous flags and all of that. And this whole thing came of this so-called military coup, as a lot of people are calling it, has actually come a week after there was a cancellation of like this huge lithium mining project that they had in store. So, I don't know if that's connected, but a lot of shit going down. It was just very interesting. Green War and Graduation Party of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Freezing my ass off. I ain't even gonna put my finger in the camcorder because that shit need to be tough. You know what I mean? But check this out though. Today they actually began oral hearings in the Supreme Court for 3 different cases that have to deal with that basically making a fight to keep DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, which basically would grant allow for 700,000 immigrants to be protected from deportation and granted work permits if they were brought here as children. So, a lot of people obviously are in favor for that. You actually had a whole group of people march from New York City all the way to Washington, D.C. just to be present for this moment. Spending the whole 16-day march and all of that. So shit is real and a lot is at stake. You probably know somebody that's going to be affected by this. Green War and Graduation. Please report out the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So after last week, the House of Representatives actually voting to move forward with impeachment hearings, and they voted along party lines. I told y'all about that. But since them run most of the House and have the majority of the House of Representatives, impeachment hearings will have formalized, and now we are beginning televised impeachment hearings open to the public. This is only the 3rd time in United States history that we've had televised impeachment hearings. And these impeachment hearings, of course, will have gone and resulted from Donald Trump having these conversations with the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, and basically him pressuring Zelensky into opening up an investigation against Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. Now, George Kent, former secretary to the or assistant to the Secretary of State and the State Department official, and Bill Taylor, former U.S. diplomat and ambassador to Ukraine, they'll be testifying, and they both have expressed that they didn't think it was appropriate for him to be having those conversations. So, we'll see how this goes down. Green War and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Some news about politics. Some things are shifting. First off, New York Congressman, Republican dude, Peter King, he's actually served 14 terms over the Long Island district. He's actually announced that he's going to retire. So, of course, he's celebrating. This is somebody who's seen as like an Islamophobe. He thought Eric Garner should die. You know what I'm saying? He said some things that I thought personally were kind of racist, and he should get him punched in the face. But, he's stepping down. So, you know what I mean? Hopefully that brings some strength and some justice and some balance to the to the Senate, or the Congress. Now also you have DeVal Patrick, a former Massachusetts governor and managing director at Bain Capital, which was co-founded by Republican Utah Senator Mitt Romney, who actually ran for president against Barack Obama. He's actually but DeVal Patrick, light-skinned black dude, whatever. Black dude, I ain't gonna say light-skinned. Black dude, whatever. He's actually announced that he's running for president, jumping in the 2020 race. Fun fact about Bain Capital, they actually own iHeartRadio, and with iHeartRadio's On the Verge program, which guarantees like a bunch of plays for select artists, who knows who's pulling these strings as far as like what artists is getting put in front of you. But that's another thing. And also Mayor Bloomberg, Mayor of New York City, he's actually announced that, former Mayor of New York City, he's announced that he's running in the 2020 election. So this might get interesting. It's funny how they waited for a bunch of Democrats to take it to the House just to jump in, you know what I'm saying, him and Patrick. So, we'll see what happens. So, Green Wall graduate. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. You know what I'm saying? Short hair don't care, you feel me? But check this out. The New York Times actually reported that they actually obtained a draft letter from Environmental Protection Agency that actually says that it's writing a new stipulation that says that scientists have to present raw data for their research if it's even going to be considered in regards to writing new public health regulations. So, and that's, we're talking about raw data that includes like the medical records of people and patients, whatever, which is not HIPAA compliant, but is a new thing. And scientists feel like this will actually restrict them in being able to write regulations that protect people against air and water and whatnot. So this is looked at as a move that's going to restrict federal government regulations on public health. So it's seen as a bad thing. It seems understandable on one hand though, so I don't know, we'll see how this ends up though. Green Wall and graduate. Before the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So before dawn in Gaza today, the Israeli military had actually bombed the home of a senior member and a leader in the Islamic Jihad, a Palestinian group. This member's name, Baha Abu al-Aqsa, and his wife, Asma, were actually killed, and his children were injured. Now, their children, pardon me. Now, as a result, in apparent retaliation, there were actually 50 rockets that were fired over into Israel from Gaza and injured at least one civilian. So the European Union said, the rockets being fired on civilian populations must be completely unacceptable, must immediately stop. Man, the war over there between the Palestinians and Israel is getting intense. I mean, it's been intense, let's keep it real. It's been a lot of bodies, but 50 rockets, that's a lot of firepower coming from the Palestinians. So, Green Wall graduation. Streets report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, the president of Afghanistan, Ashraf Ghani, actually said that they are aiming to directly facilitate peace negotiations between them and the Taliban by doing this prisoner exchange. So this will actually free American professor Kevin King and Australian professor Timothy Reese, both professors who were actually teaching at the American University of Afghanistan before they were actually kidnapped in Kabul in Afghanistan in 2016 by the Taliban. So it'll free them, and in return, Afghanistan will actually free 3 senior members of the Taliban, Naz Haqqani, Hashrif, Hafiz Kashif, and Haji Malik Khan. So that's what's going down. Green Wall and Red. Streets report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So after almost a month of protests, stemming back to October 19th, when there was a subway fare hike in Chile, that quickly, went from protesting against that to erupting against protests against austerity and economic inequality. and demand for the rewriting of the Constitution that was in place ever since the brutal military regime of dictator Augusto Pinochet. The Chilean government has actually officially agreed to rewrite the Constitution. Now, this is a huge win for the power of the people. You know what I'm saying? Like, them hitting the streets like how they did. You're talking about times where military was actually sent out to the streets imposing curfew. 19 people have died, have actually been killed from these government crackdowns on the protest, and the protest still ensued. And now here we are, the rewriting of the Constitution. That is the power of the people. Green War and Grad. News report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So more protests and clashes between pro-democracy students and police over there in Hong Kong. Now, 260 people were actually arrested yesterday due to mass demonstrations. A bunch of schools and universities are actually closed today due to these demonstrations. So far, ever since the protests broke out in June, when the chief executive of Hong Kong, Carrie Lam, had introduced this extradition bill that said if you catch a case at Hong Kong, you'll get put out to China and have to deal with it in China and Beijing and all of that, which has since been has been withdrawn. But protests still ensue over autonomy and pro-democracy and things of that nature, or whatever. Ever since those protests broke out this past summer, 3,000 people have been arrested. So there's definitely a government crackdown. It's gotten violent in a lot of instances. Remember they shut down the airport a couple times. One time there was 2 million people in the streets. Another time it was 1 million. So it's getting real over there and still is. Green War and Graduation. Streets report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So Scott Warren of the activist group No More Deaths or No Más Muertes, this is a white dude who actually was convicted of felony harboring charges and for basically providing food, clean water, clothes, and some beds to 2 undocumented migrants that were crossing the Sonoran Desert in southern Arizona. He's actually going back to trial today, like a few months back, about 5 months back. He was on trial, and the jury had actually deadlocked on his decision. So he's headed back to trial today. You know what I'm saying? For all the activists out there, and definitely for the people that see the humanity in these migrants that have been trying to get into America or whatever. Keep him in your positive thoughts and prayers, because at the end of the day, he was just, he had God moving through him, as far as I personally see it. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to help another human. You know what I mean? So I think it's just humane for him to have done that. And for him to be facing up to 10 years, it seems kind of hard. Green War and Graduation. News report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So, aside from former President Jimmy Carter actually undergoing brain surgery at 95 years old, somebody who, had great approval ratings as far as being president, definitely from black people, from, today's Democrats or the left wing or whatever. You also have, this is somebody that was also actually still serving, building houses with the habitat of humanity. 95 years old, you know what I'm saying? So, hopefully everything goes well with that, to reduce the swelling in his brain and all of that. But, in more sad news though, Marquise Jefferson has actually died. He died from a heart attack. Who is Marquise Jefferson? He's actually the father of 28-year-old Tatiana Jefferson, who was shot and killed by police officer Aaron Dean, who was coming to the house responding to a wellness check and ended up shooting Shorty through the window. So people were saying this dude's Marquise Jefferson, the father, he died from a broken heart. That was his only child. You know what I'm saying? So shit is real out here, man. Stay woke. Green War and Graduation.